Otaku!
Oh, hello, and welcome to the Binge Otaku. My name is Wesley, and unfortunately Andre is not able to be here today. He's somewhere contemplating the difficulties of existence. Today's anime is going to be one entitled Yokio, a very interesting anime, and one that is not typically known to be as good as most people had wanted it to be. Yokio is an American-Japanese co-produced anime created by Ezra Koenig. This work was also produced by the Japanese anime production company Production IG and Studio Dean. This anime was a dark comedy, thriller, action, sci-fi adventure that really fit the motif. It really did feel as though that was what you could describe it as. It was a very nice rendition of classy higher society meets the weird sci-fi magic usage tech could be. And I'll get to that in a second. But the anime as a whole does feel like it was meant to be there. And it's difficult for someone to say that because, well, Yokio is not traditional. It's not what you'd expect. It's something that takes itself away from the power creep animes that you know and love. It takes it away from the standard, and it places itself in an area where you should decide for yourself, is this something that I could possibly enjoy? One of the good things that this anime has going for it is that it has a very layered world about it. You can tell that in the beginning there is something more to this world. And although it may seem a little misleading with a lot of the jokes and a lot of the snarky remarks from other characters, it does have a way of, it definitely has an air about it that tells you that it definitely has something else to offer. And that is something that is very difficult to get from animes today. It has a very good use of comedy that a lot of people seem to have missed as well. And it's not blatant, it's not supposed to be in your face, but you have to take a look at it from a different angle. Again, this is not an anime that you would particularly have to just get the jokes thrown at you. No, you have to take a little sidestep, a little bit of an angle at the different side of comedy that Yokio presents. It has more of a classy air to it with its comedy. It's something that you could appreciate if you were sitting on the porch of a southern home in the middle of the summer with a fan, complaining about wilting in the sun's light. It's a very advanced comedy. Outside of the comedy, it does have a very solid plot. You have the main character, whose name is Kaz Khan, and he is trying to piece together a fractured world around him pertaining to possessions, demonic possessions. He's also trying to piece together, his standings as a magistocrat, which is this world's version of a higher class magic user. And he's also trying to mend together his relationship with the first girl that he actually exercises, and her name is Helena. Together with Helena and his two friends, they embark on a lot of challenging, world-turning events that in the end seem to throw his perfect view of the place that he's protecting from demons in disarray. And for a person that enjoys a good story, it's not presented to you in a way that it's easily digested, but at the same time it makes itself present, especially in the last episode. And I'm not going to spoil anything here, of course, but I will say that the episode does show that there is definitely something else going on in this world. The power struggle between the rich and the poor is a very, very heavy thing that exists. And on top of that, Kaz has to figure out where he actually stands. Because although he is the more proper gentleman when it comes to how he presents himself, he's still looked at as someone who is not an equal in higher society. And to some of the cons about this anime, I would have to say that it does have a very, very slow world building going about it. You really have no idea exactly the different sections of Neo Yokio outside of what's mentioned here or there in certain conversations. The place seems a bit lacking in description. There is a few areas that do have description, but that's possibly just because it needed to be there for the plot. Neo Yokio is a very difficult anime to follow, and you will get lost in it if you are not paying attention. And that's probably one of the reasons why it's not highly praised at the moment, because it does have some things that could be, well, better defined. The fact that you can really get lost in this anime, it really does seem to take away the production value, but I won't say that it is a deal breaker. I will say that it does require you to have a little bit more patience, and that's something that a lot of us really don't have nowadays. But if you take the time to examine it a little more, to actually appreciate what's being presented in front of you, it'll be okay, and you'll probably get it. Another gripe that I have with this anime is that it doesn't have a proper magic system laid out. The rat catchers, as they're called, are the magic users of this world, and they have a tendency to use a lot of gesture magic where they throw their hands and magic happens. But it's not defined, it doesn't have an origin yet, and that's something that needs to be established in any form of media, I feel. It's the same thing with Harry Potter when you throw your wand out and you can cast an array of spells but without any incantations. You're wondering what type of spell this is. What is it going to do for the person it hits? We don't know. There is a lot of demonology going on, and that's something apparent with the fact that Kaz is an exorcist. But I feel as though that it would be a better anime if that particular form of magic being used was more explained, if we found out exactly where the demons came from, if there was some ethereal plane that they just somehow apparitioned from, then that would be the gist of it, and I would accept that. I have no idea, and it's a turn off for me as far as the magic's concerned. It does look cool, don't get me wrong, but I feel as though it's lacking in definition, and that can hurt a production in the end. Overall, this anime is pretty worthwhile to watch. If you feel as though you can sit down and actually take in a situation, if you feel as though you can actually get over the fact that Jaden Smith is the main character, which he's not a bad actor. I mean, there have been worse. And I think we all know that there are some pretty bad actors out there. But he does a very good job of playing Cascon. And I feel as though he's not exactly as strong as his father is at the moment, but he's definitely on his way. If he keeps up how he's been portraying himself in the show, or in this particular anime, as far as vocals is concerned, he's definitely going to be able to pull off some interesting characters in the long run. Outside of that, with the supporting cast, I feel as though they all bring their energy to the roles. I don't have a problem with how they have presented themselves so far. I'm really looking forward to see how they develop with Helena's criminal acts at the end of the first season. I think that this will be a pretty good anime to follow overall. I really think that if you really want a good anime to get into, this is one to keep an eye out for. It's got a little bit more development to kind of process through, but once it does, I feel as though it's going to really knock your socks off. This has been Wesley with the Binge Otaku. Have a good one.